reiterate that question back out, we can ask bus drivers, how many of you would be willing to date a single mom?
When y'all be sitting up saying, oh, well, even if you get married, you could still end up a single mother. Ho, are you slow? Is something wrong with you? The whole point is wanting to be married first. Y'all be acting like people get married, the divorce be 2 months later. It don't be. I don't care what y'all try to normalize. I want a ring before I lay down on a table and have a baby for a man. And all marriage is too big of a commitment. But you'd rather lay down on a table and push out a whole human being that you could possibly be doing. And that's not too much.
I don't care what any baby mama say. Having to raise your kids by yourself is not a flex. And this is coming from a single mother. Listen to your sister. Don't let any baby mama deceive you into believing that being a single mother is more convenient than being a wife. Being a baby mama is not a flex, and I said what I said. Well, I'd rather be a baby mama than be a miserable wife. Girl, majority of the women that be saying that, she ain't never been a wife a day in her life.
So I have just come across this post on social media revealing that Eboni K. Williams is pregnant with her first child. Let me just read everything. Let me read this post and we're going to get into the conversation. So it says, the former Real Housewives of New York City star and host of Equal Justice with Judge Eboni K. Williams is expecting her first child. That's right. The 40-year-old television personality opened up about her pregnancy journey as she's eagerly awaiting the arrival of a baby girl due on August 16th. While speaking with the outlet, Williams, who previously shared her decision to pursue motherhood using her frozen eggs through sperm donation and in vitro fertilization, also known as IVF, acknowledged the challenges and uncertainties that accompany the IVF journey. Anybody who's gone through IVF or attempted IVF will tell you so many things have to go right for the final result of this journey to be a baby, Williams explained. That's why I've called this my remarkable miracle, because it really does feel like I've been the recipient of some very enormous favor from God above. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into this. The first thing that I want to say is, anybody who's having a baby, I think that it is a very tumultuous situation. It's very hard on your body. It's not an easy thing to go through. We all know that. We all know all the above. It is something that is, it's special, it's sacred, and of course, I wish her, a safe delivery and all those things. However, we gotta talk. Okay, y'all, we have to talk, because if you guys don't remember, I'm gonna play a couple clips and just jog your memory before we really get into it of why this is such a big deal. I saw a lot of people under this post saying, what's the big deal? What's the problem? Men do it all the time. The same things that we always hear. I'm going to play these clips and then we'll talk about it.
Some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it.
And I realized that some of the things that myself and my female counterparts were priding ourselves on, being really, really well educated, being very well accomplished, being pretty, but like pretty in a way that society deems is particularly valuable, because we know there's actual pretty and then there's kind of marketability, if you will, the kind of objective standard. And those things really just did not translate on the dating marketplace. And imagine how perplexed some of us were. But I said to my girlfriends long ago, I said, y'all, all of this 9s and 10s, we might be in that space, even 8s. It's not going to serve us the competitive advantage when it relates to our sisters, who I'm even going to say 6 and 7s.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit, right? Like, let's back up. So she was talking about the dating market. This is something that is a continual conversation with Eboni K. Williams, right? She did it on the Breakfast Club. She did it on Stephen A. Smith's show. She did it on her own conversation with Ayanla. It's a lot of things that she talks about where she feels that Black women are not in spaces where they have a lot to choose from, or if the Black women are educated and have a certain amount of finances, that they basically they don't have the pick of the litter, right? They only have very few, far and in between men to choose from, based off of statistics and demographics, because they want a certain type of guy. Right? They want a certain type of guy that's making a certain type of money every year, who meets a certain criteria, tall, owns businesses. Like, they have it all mapped out on a piece of paper of exactly the type of person that they feel that they are qualified for, right? Something that I thought was very interesting is that when she had that conversation with Ayanla, and Ayanla asked her, would you date a bus driver? She said she would absolutely never date a bus driver, and I believe they even had another conversation about a trash man, and she said she would not date a trash man either. And both of those jobs make really good amount of money, especially depending on wherever it is that you live in the country. They definitely can make a pretty decent penny, a very comfortable, more than comfortable living. And she said that she personally would not, because unless he owned the bus. But it's interesting because now when we reiterate that question back out, we can ask bus drivers, how many of you would be willing to date a single mom? That's how it's reversed, right? You don't want to be with them because they're broke, or they don't have the certain amount of money that you have, or they don't have a certain amount of finances. And then at the same token, now you're in the space of what would be almost like the equivalent, right, of what would be a quote unquote mediocre man. So take that how you want it. If you feel that, a mediocre man, or a man who doesn't have a certain amount of finances is not good enough, or whatever the case is, in the dating market now, if you felt that you had this conversation with your friends and you felt like you were 8, 9, or 10 on the looks department, and you were not best suited for men based off of the fact that you had too much education, you're too smart, you're too pretty, you're too all of these things, and that these men are going to go for other women who are maybe not as in quote unquote intelligent, or all these things just based off of your words. Now, what would having a baby and becoming a baby mama then do? I'd love to know. It's really sad when we have conversations of people who are talking about, driving the community forward, and like positive change, and like, wanting to see different within the Black community. Like, we always hear people talking about this and saying that they're running with it. But what's so interesting to me is that, a lot of women, majority of the time, they say these things and they say that they are, they're focused on it or whatever. But then it somehow comes into a certain play where they end up kind of like reverting back, or like taking 10 steps back while they're talking about wanting to move forward. Because at this point, this is just perpetuating the narrative, but just at a higher level. There's absolutely no difference. You said that you didn't want to compete with the quote unquote mediocre, women who were 6 and 7s, but now you are. Now you're in that same space, right? Because now, just like you would think that a woman of your quote unquote, your knowledge and your wealth and your this and your that you would not want to, again, continue the saga of raising children in fatherless homes. You would not want to create a broken home for your young Black child because you feel so strongly about community. a lot of people can say what, I saw so many women, of course, right? I saw so many women, showing so much support and this and that. And I find it so ironic that, sometimes we can just be so backwards. Because there's so much support for baby mama culture. There's so much support for all these baby announcements. There's so much support for all of, these women who talk about they're going to raise kids by themselves. There's so much support and backative for those things. But whenever we see people talk about they're getting married, or we see people talking about they're getting engaged, you can look in the comments and see a whole bunch of negativity. Oh, I don't understand what she's marrying him for. She could do so much better. Oh, I can't stand that. I don't know why she's doing that. Oh, she's stupid, she's slow, she fool. It's so backwards. Do we want to change the community? Do we want to elevate the community? Do we want to, step forward and try to see something different, or don't we? And the whole point is that you can do whatever it is that you want to do. Like, you have all right to do and say and choose whatever it is that you want to please to do. But in that same breath, then don't say that you're trying to elevate or help to, take the community in strides forward. Because this is not doing that. Because now the people who are looking at you as a quote unquote representative of the black community in whatever demographic that you're in, are now just seeing a glamorized version of a baby mama. I understand, that she is listen, and this is nothing to about her excitement or whatever the case is. It's nothing, none of that foolishness. It's not even, personal to her specifically, but it's just the point that there's so many women who are, standing on their soapbox and telling everybody that it's okay to be a baby mama, and they're spreading this narrative out there, but then at the same time they turn around and say, oh, I can't believe the state of our community. I can't believe the state of our community. I can't believe, the way that these younger women are acting. I can't believe that these younger women don't have any decorum or don't have any class. Yes, you do have, single mothers who have the assistance of, family members, friends. Of course, we want to talk about stepfathers, but I'm not even talking about that. I mean, whenever there are certain situations, we have literally said and read the statistics where if there is a child who grows up with just a man, that child is no different than a child who grows up in a two-parent household. However, if a child grows up with only their mother, there is a vast difference as the behavior of that child, whether boy or girl, and how they function in society, the things that they deal with, mental health issues, whether they're in and out of jail, whether they are, on alcoholism or all of the above. And I think that as much as, again, this is just my personal opinion, I know that we want to fulfill the things that we want to and all those kind of things. But sometimes you just have to take yourself and step back and think, is this going to be selfish for the other person? Because the child who is being born, there is still going to be a void. It doesn't matter if you have a nanny. It doesn't matter if you are able to pay all the bills. It doesn't matter if they're able to go to private school. None of that matters, because if that child does not know the other side of herself or his self, I think she said she's having a girl. So if that child, especially a young girl, does not know that other side of herself, if the man who assisted in creating her, she does not know him, right? And she does not receive that love from that first man who was supposed to show her love, it is going to dictate and change the dynamic of how she moves on and how she, propels in the future. I'm not saying it, 100% in this particular case, but from what I see that a lot of women sometimes, whenever they are on the quote unquote dating market, or when they are dating and things don't go their way, or it doesn't happen as quickly as they thought it would happen, or whatever the case may be, a lot of times they selfishly have children for themselves so that they will have a friend or a comrade to continue to do life with, somebody that they can love, in the way that they would have wished to have a partner or a companion to love in that magnitude. They'll be able to have that, except for it will not require them to change. change in the way that they don't have to not be masculine, change in a way that they don't have to, not dictate or tell somebody what to do, because being that it is a child that's under their regime, they have to listen to their mother, right? So they still get to be, the dictator in the household. They still get to yell and scream and tell them what to do and what not to do. They still can, feed their own ego and just be whatever it is they want to be. And again, not evolve, grow, or change. Again, I'm not saying that this is exactly the situation that's going to happen in this aspect or that is happening. I'm just saying it's something that I've constantly seen. And it's just so interesting because, she was saying that for her to find a man now, she knows what she would have to do to be available, because right now she don't have the schedule, she don't have the time, but now she's going to need all the time. Right? Where a lot of women have a hard time getting on the same page with a man that's grown, that can take care of themselves. When you have a child that is literally helpless and needs you for every little thing, now you really have to have your schedule available. Now you really have to make the time. I saw a lot of people saying like, oh, I wonder if her sperm donor is a bus driver or a garbage man or this or that. I saw a lot of people saying that, but I'm pretty sure that I think whenever you go through those journeys that you are able to look on a list and see certain things, and then pick from whatever it is that you want to pick from, to have a child. I think you get to choose the IQ, the just every single thing. And I think, again, that just exposes a certain level of control in another aspect, in my personal opinion. I want to agree with the ladies that I posted in the beginning of the video that, yes, there are women who end up being single mothers, and sometimes it's not by choice, right? There's situations where maybe their husbands are deployed or, are unfortunately no longer with us. There are situations of incarceration. There are situations where it's just drama and toxic and they break up. There's foolishness where, maybe the man actually doesn't want to be involved or whatever. There's all kinds of different situations that can occur, and they are in the space because they have to be in the space. I love that woman, spoke out and said, don't listen to all the hype. Not because this woman who can afford a nanny and can do all these things and is glamorizing this situation is making it to seem like something that it's actually not. It's actually, hard. It's actually difficult. It's actually sad. It's actually lonely. And I love when women who are in the space, again, speak up and talk about that, because there's so much, propaganda of the contrary. Everywhere you look, there's a new celebration of a new baby mama on social media, and everybody clapping in the comment section. And I have to say it again. Ironically enough, when people are getting proposed to or engaged or whatever, it's crickets. It's either crickets or it's criticism. But we want to see the community move forward. I'd like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I would love to hear you guys' opinions on this video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.